What is the creepiest, most disturbing confession that you have heard from an otherwise normal person? Serious replies only. Unfortunately, this is about me. I told a friend and they were pretty creeped out about it, and I'm quite embarrassed of it, really. I've never done it again, and it's really changed the way I talk to people online. My Reddit account has some very easy to follow steps to find out who I am, so I only post positive things, very tame critiques, and that's about it. My account has my name that I share with a lot of other things, previous online accounts, etc. But my story is about how I cyber-stalked a BF3 hacker just because he was being annoying. When BF3 became free to play, I joined a TDM server. I have quite a few hours on BF3 300E, and I really enjoyed it. To see a full server again was quite fun, and I was kicking ass. Then this guy joins. This guy starts kicking ass, heading-shotting me from across the map. I don't think too much of it, but I ask, hey man, is that all skill? He responds it is, and he's streaming. BF3 isn't a very popular game, so it took less than a minute to find his Twitch stream. Just look for a picture of the same map being played, and his was the first. Clearly hacking. Boxes on screen, snapping headshots, the whole 9 yards. So now, I had his stream. I called it out in game, linked the stream, and he left. Duel was booted a minute later. In that minute, he was joking about how, as the game was free, he could just get another account and keep going. On his stream, he wasn't talking, but he was typing. He was typing to another streamer. Now his stream just had me as a viewer. I was pretty bored, and he had my attention. He hadn't really ruined my gaming experience, it was just, hey, who is this douche? His Twitch name matched his Twitter name, which he used to promote his stream. His Twitter was filled with bully trolling posts at people, and he was just a smarmy douchebag. No photos, though. His name was included, but it wasn't a very unique name. Now I have a Twitter account and a name. This is where it gets even worse. I start to trawl his posts. Going back months, I find a post that links him to a town. I Google search the town and his name, bingo. A post about Australia Day and how he thought this town had put on a really bad show. Just saying how bad it was, etc. And trolling people in the comments. It was a small town and people were biting. You should organize it if you think you're so great, etc. He was eating it up. But I had his Facebook. Start looking into his profile. Posts were private, but the Facebook URL closely matched the Twitter, so I knew it was him. The profile pics were nondescript, banned pages, random shit like that. But this guy had a girlfriend. Her profile was public and she kept tagging him in posts. It was so cringy. I love you, boo. You are my world, the most beautiful girl I know, etc. etc. The guy and his girlfriend were two ham planets. He was the epitome of keyboard warrior. He had fedora wearing lens flare edited profile picture. It was actually just perfect. It was just so satisfying that this guy was the stereotype personified. I could have left it there, but I had to go a step further. I created another Twitch account, just to let the guy know I found him. I posted his Facebook details in the chat of Twitch. There was like max 4 people watching him stream, but you could see it pop up on his stream chat, him pause mid-game, and just not do anything for like 5 seconds. He closed the stream. No more. Confession 2. I work with a Polish dude who barely speaks English. He's a lovable 40-something dude who just drinks vodka and laughs infectiously all day long. A textbook, carefree scam. Every couple of months, everyone from work heads to a bar that hook us up with half-price drinks for that particular night. It's pretty sweet. So anyway, this Polish dude and I were at the end of a long 10-person bench, laughing about nothing and drinking ice-cold cruiser after ice-cold cruiser. It was great. Eventually we, somehow, got onto the topic of what he did before he came to England. After a few brews, his English became even more scattered, but he did try, bless him. So he says he was in the army and so on and so forth, after which he said, I shoot 7 men dead. Now that might not seem too heavy for you, but it blew me away. He was on the front lines during the Kosovan War, from what I could gather. I couldn't, and didn't want to. get too much more out of him due to the language barrier. Also, some gnarly, illegal shit happened during that war, which I don't think I could bear to know about. Or nair. Milk.Hims, Newt's School. Confession 3. On my way home from counseling, an elderly lady talked to me about her experience as a nurse in a mental institution. Some of the things she said were horrifying and sad. I think she was glad to get it off her chest. This included patients with schizophrenia who were abandoned by families, people admitted into the wards because of their homosexuality, with some very upsetting consequences, and more. Most involved patients taking their own lives. I sat there and listened, though I'm not sure how much of it actually sunk in until I got home. Keep smiling, Pete. Me, man. Nighttime. Confession 4. A friend of mine confessed that he was molested as a child. His parents are part of this cult that believes their leader can talk to God. The cult is decent sized. There are about a few hundred members when I researched it. My friend said that there was a man from the church who would offer to babysit him and his little brother. The babysitter would offer them money to take off their clothes, get their pictures taken, and do sexual favors. The church gathers a block from my house. I thought this building was a temple or a mosque, but in reality it's some sort of cult compound. Some of the members are actually part of the local police too. If I wasn't always drunk, I would probably be scared. Or van. Man. Confession 5. I need a throwaway for this because it's really stupid. Before reading, realize I was a stupid teen. In 2009, one of my closest friends made a confession I found disturbing back then. He told me that he was gay, and my reaction was completely wrong. What I did was kicking him in the face and telling him he should cure from his disease, or I would never want to see you again, and I never did. Sadly, 2 months after this happened, he committed suicide. I'm not even 100% sure this was because of me, but no one else knew that he was gay, a fake. I didn't even attend his funeral because then I had no idea it could be because of me. I realized that later, and I still mourn him. I'm so sorry for this, but I never told this to one of his friends or family. I'm donating the Human Rights Campaign and Suicide Prevention Foundations today, and I think this is the best I can do. Something like this is something I wish never happens again. Now, soul. Confession 6. My ex-boyfriend could not handle our breakup. I broke it off with him because of significant issues, drugs, stealing, etc. I finally got out of it. He didn't. He would not give up on me. At first, he was desperate at trying to get back with me, following me, waiting in obscure locations for when I walked to my car, and even threatening to kill himself if I didn't see him. I blocked his numbers, changed my email, transferred colleges, moved a state away, and tried to move on with my life. He was in and out of jail for drugs and stealing in addition to concealed weapons charges, which was scary for me knowing all the times when he confronted me alone. It was about 4 or so years later when I received the creepiest phone call. It was him calling to tell me that he was looking for me all this time. The tone of his voice, the horrific laughter. I freaked out. I called my parents and informed them, hey, if I go missing, this is who has me. I called campus security and made sure they had his description. He never showed up, but my God, the voice on the other end of the line still brings chills. It scares me to this day that he is out there possibly looking for me. Luckily, I've become more aware of precautions to take. Pepper spray, learning self-defense, etc. Try. If I was in another state where obtaining a gun was easier, I would have done so. Unfortunately, it's not so easy where I am now. I do, however, have panic buttons and GPS locators, so if something were to happen, I can be found. I try not to let fear or paranoia run my life. I try to take the best precautions, but I will always have that fear that just around the corner, he will be waiting for me.